We want to take a few minutes this morning with our kids here, so if I could have y'all's attention for just a few minutes, and keep in mind for our big kids here, there is important stuff in these stories here for you as well. Important reminders for us this morning as we gather together to worship the Lord. You know, last year we began setting aside a few minutes in our worship service for our kids. They sit so quietly and diligently for us here as we come together to for the worship of God and the preaching of His Word, and we want to make sure we're making investments into them as well. We have parents who continue to do a great job. We're continuing through the catechism questions, but and we started kind of focusing upon those. Those continue, but this year we're going to continue through the Jesus Storybook Bible, which we began reading during our Advent, because this is a fantastic resource for helping us to understand who God is, and particularly what the Bible is all about. And you know, as I look out to our big kids here, I'm finding more and more that for even us as big kids, even sometimes we are confused about those very things, who God is and what the Bible is about. So please don't tune out during this time. Please don't see this as a time where I can kind of just do something else. You hone in on this as well. And what a wonderful time of worship this is for all of us, and we include our children in it as well. We just sang a song, "Come Praise and Glorify Our God." But the question is, who is God? Who exactly are we praising and glorifying? Who is He, and how would we go about finding out? Well, the answer to that is in the Bible. It's through the Bible God tells us who He is. And specifically, in the Bible, He reveals Himself through a person, Jesus Christ. And so this morning as we get started, I'm just going to begin at the very beginning of our story, and we're going to build on this every week. So pay close attention here. This is almost as important, or this is important for laying the foundation for everything that's going to come. Pay attention to this. This story is called The Story and the Song. It comes from Psalm chapter 19, where God says, "The heavens declare the glory of God." God wrote, "I love you." He wrote it in the sky and on the earth and under the sea. He wrote that message everywhere because God created everything in His world to reflect Him like a mirror, to show us what He is like, to help us to know Him, to make our hearts sing. The way a kitten chases her tail, the way red puppies grow wild, the way a dolphin swims. And God put it into words too, and He wrote it in a book, the Bible. You see there kind of the picture of creation? It's in creation God is writing His message to us. Now some people think the Bible is a book about rules, telling you what you should and shouldn't do. And the Bible certainly does have some rules in it. They show you how life works best. But the Bible isn't mainly about you and what you should be doing. It's about God and what He has done. Other people think the Bible is a book of heroes, showing you how to live and you should copy them. And the Bible does have some heroes in it, but as you'll soon find out, most of the people in the Bible, they're not heroes at all. They all make some pretty big mistakes, sometimes on purpose. They get afraid, they run away, and sometimes they're downright mean. You see kind of those people there? There's the pictures of like Abraham and Moses and David and Paul. Sometimes we uphold those people in the Bible as those are the heroes. We need to be like Abraham and Moses and David and Paul, but actually, we're not to be like them at all. No, the Bible is not a book of rules or a book of heroes. The Bible is most of all a story. It's an adventure story about a young hero who comes from a far, far country to win back his lost treasure. It's a love story about a brave prince who leaves his palace, his throne, everything, to rescue the one he loves. It's like the most wonderful of fairy tales that has come true in real life. You see, the best thing about the story is that it's true. There are lots of stories in the Bible, but all the stories in the Bible are telling one big story. The story of how God loves His children and has come to rescue them. And it takes the whole Bible to tell this story from Genesis to Revelation. And in all the story, there is one at the center of the story, a baby. And every story in the Bible Let me repeat that. Every story in the Bible whispers His name. He's like the missing piece in a puzzle, the piece that makes all the other pieces fit together. And then suddenly you see a beautiful picture. And this is no ordinary baby. This is the child upon whom everything would depend. This is the child who would one day, but wait. Our story starts where all good stories start, right at the very beginning. So that's all we're going to talk about today. We're going to get started with that story next week. The story of how this baby comes about. And what did we learn this morning? The Bible, it's a big book. There's a lot of people in it. There's a lot of stories in it. But the Bible's about how many people? One. Anyone want to guess who that one person is so far? Do you know? It's about Jesus. And that's what we've come to praise and glorify. To come and praise and glorify Jesus.